The air in the basement was thick with the scent of wet earth and something metallic, like old pennies. From the absolute darkness, a faint, rhythmic scratching began. It wasn't an animal. The rhythm matched the frantic, trapped beating of his own heart. He'd heard that pattern before, decades ago. Tapped on a shared bedroom wall, his brother's secret code. But his brother had vanished 20 years ago, and the whispered voice from the blackness behind him now spoke his childhood nickname. A worn teddy bear lay abandoned on a cot, its threadbare fur whispering of forgotten comfort. Taped to a rusted pipe, a family photo revealed a man's face smiling with two different families. A secret life preserved in faded ink. A trembling hand slowly turned a cold doorknob, knuckles white with tension. For 17 years, Sarah Anderson heard the faint footsteps pacing relentlessly beneath her bedroom floor. A ghostly rhythm that never ceased. My father dismissed the muffled whispers as the house settling, a comforting lie that would unravel everything. That falsehood concealed a second life, hidden in plain sight within our picture-perfect Columbus home. From the outside, we were the American dream. My father Robert, mother Linda, and me, teenage Sarah, all frozen in home video happiness. Yet beneath that warmth lingered the scent of ozone and old secrets, a truth waiting to pull our world apart. My father Robert was a civil engineer who built bridges, a quiet, meticulous man of steel and concrete. My mother Linda was a kindergarten teacher, the warm, beating heart of our home. And I was Sarah, his daughter, who believed without question that my father was the most honest man alive. That belief was the foundation of my childhood. Solid, unshakable, and utterly wrong. The basement floor stood as my father's forbidden domain. His workshop, he called it. It remained perpetually locked, its presence looming with unspoken menace. Dangerous tools, sweetheart, he'd murmur, his voice laced with a strange, protective finality. The air around it always carried the faint, metallic scent of rust, and something older, something forgotten. Dad always dismissed the basement as just his old project junk, and we never questioned it. But on certain nights, I'd press my ear to my bedroom floor and swear I heard, not rats, but a faint, scratchy radio playing a distant melody, or the distinct, hollow gurgle of a toilet flushing from somewhere below. Years later, Sarah, now 17, sat on that same floor, her expression shadowed by a dawning, terrible understanding. Lying on her bed, she listened intently to the floorboards below. The cracks in our family's facade began appearing that summer. I turned 17. Dad's business trips were always suspiciously local, never requiring overnight stays. He'd vanish after dinner and return by midnight, his arrivals marked by the faint scent of ozone and damp earth. Then, one Tuesday, Mom was working late. Dad thought I was at the library, but a migraine drove me home early. The metallic scrape of a key in the front door cut through the quiet house. From my hiding place, I watched the doorknob turn, my pulse hammering in my ears. Then I heard him come in. He wasn't alone. The soft, unfamiliar patter of small feet echoed in the stillness. A woman's voice, hushed and weary, whispered through the dark. "Just for a few groceries, Robbie." Robbie. The name hung in the air like a forgotten scent. No one called him that. A primal dread settled in his chest, heavy as stone. Through the closet slats, Sarah's eyes widened as her father ushered a weary woman and a small boy toward the basement door, each clutching grocery bags. The air in the closet grew thick, with the scent of old wood and damp earth, making each breath feel labored and shallow. A primal dread took hold as she watched the strangers disappear down the basement steps, their footsteps echoing in the silent house. Who were these people? And what awaited them in the darkness below? Before I could even process what I'd seen, they vanished, the basement door clicking shut and locking behind them. That night, I confronted him. We sat at the kitchen table, the air thick with unspoken tension. His stillness was unnatural, a placid surface over something fathomless. Then, with unsettling gentleness, he spoke. Sarah. That was Clara. She was an old college friend, fleeing an abusive husband with her son, Eli. They were in a bad situation, so I offered them temporary refuge in my workshop. The plan was simple. Let them stay a week or two until she could get back on her feet. Just a short-term solution, or so I thought at the time. We must keep this secret to protect them. Can you be my brave girl and do that? He met my eyes and wove the lie, and I accepted it completely. For days, Sarah became a detective in her own home, piecing together an impossible puzzle. Her inventory revealed extra laundry, unexplained stains, and a faint metallic scent clinging to forgotten towels. Then, wedged behind the dryer, her fingers brushed against a single, crumpled piece of paper. Unfolding it revealed a child's crude drawing of a rocket, launching into a sky filled with strange, jagged stars. She now observed her father's routines through suspicious eyes. But 2 weeks stretched into months, and the signs multiplied. The water bill doubled without explanation, and my snacks vanished from their hiding places. Each discovery settled in my gut like a cold, heavy stone. My mother's expression shifted to a quiet, sorrowful confusion. She could sense something was wrong within her own walls, but the source remained elusive. The air thickened with an unspoken tension, carrying the faint scent of damp earth. Meanwhile, Sarah, now 24, packed her belongings to leave for college. The truth finally broke on the day I was leaving for good. I was searching for my birth certificate in a forgotten box of old tax files. Instead, my fingers brushed against the brittle, cold paper of his, and then another, not just his, then the second file, for a Clara Higgins, listed at our very address, and beneath it, a birth certificate for Elijah Higgins, father, Robert Anderson. The air in the room grew thick, smelling of old paper and a faint kapu tang. A connection was forming in the dark, one that whispered of a hidden, terrible history. The documents confirmed it. Elijah, my half-brother, had been born when I was 7. A damp, metallic scent clung to the air as I processed the truth. For his entire life, he had lived right beneath me. The realization settled like a weight, cold and absolute. This wasn't just a temporary shelter. This was a second family, a home built on secrets. In the study, Sarah trembled, not from fear, but from a raw, consuming fury that eclipsed her grief. She slammed the damning documents onto her father's polished desk, the impact echoing in the heavy silence. Her voice, thick with tears of pure fury, cracked the stillness. 17 years? How could you? How could you do this to Mom? To me? To him? The words hung in the air, thick with the scent of ozone and old rot. A damp, sticky cold seeped from the walls, as if the house itself wept. Somewhere, a faint scratching whispered through the floorboards. A sound that shouldn't be there. Robert's composure shattered, his voice a hollow whisper in the oppressive stillness. It wasn't supposed to be like this, he rasped, the scent of damp earth and old wood saturating the air. Clara was pregnant. Her family disowned her. I was going to tell your mother, but... A long, heavy pause, broken only by a faint, rhythmic drip from somewhere unseen. Then, barely audible, the final confession. Then Eli was born. I was trapped. I built them, that apartment below. I provided everything. I loved you all. The word, provided, fell from his lips like a mundane utility bill. He had compartmentalized his life so completely, he'd convinced himself he was a hero, not a jailer. Sarah snatched the basement key from his desk, her fingers closing around cold, pitted metal. She marched toward the door, ignoring the frantic, wet sound of her father's pleading behind her. Sarah, don't! His voice cracked, a desperate plea swallowed by the house's damp, silent air. You'll destroy everything. But everything was already destroyed. It was built on a foundation of lies. I turned the key. I descended the forbidden stairs, my footfalls echoing in the confined space. Below lay not a dungeon, but a cramped, sorrowful apartment. A small kitchenette and a living area with a threadbare sofa. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and stale neglect clinging to my skin. A low, persistent hum seemed to emanate from the walls themselves, a sound that set my teeth on edge. Clara stood motionless, clutching the photo album, her expression not of surprise but weary acceptance. A teenage boy, Elijah, stared from behind her, his eyes an unsettling mirror of my father's. The air grew heavy with the scent of old paper and something faintly metallic. Clara's voice was barely a whisper. You look like your mother. In that suspended moment, I saw no monster, only a terrible, quiet truth. I witnessed another victim, a woman who lived decades in the shadows, raising a son who believed the world was a basement, sealed by a locked door at the stairs' peak. The air carried the scent of damp rot and stale fear, a sticky chill clinging to the walls as if the very structure remembered her confinement. Now in the present, Sarah faces the camera, her eyes clear yet haunted, the weight of her truth palpable in every measured word. The fallout wasn't just destruction. It was a nuclear blast, scorching every lie and leaving only the raw, trembling aftermath. My parents' marriage dissolved, leaving my mother in therapy's grip. My father now inhabits a lonely apartment, abandoned by both families. Yet from that wreckage, a settlement for my mother's lawsuit emerged. It gave Clara and Eli their first real home, a foundation built on something unsettling. I'm building a connection with Eli, a gentle, introspective boy whose only companions were the stars he'd watch through that tiny basement window. We share a biological father, but what truly binds us is a shared, unspoken question that haunts us both. The air in that basement always carried the scent of damp earth and something faintly metallic, like old pennies. Sometimes, in the quiet, you could hear the faint rhythmic scratching from within the walls, a sound that made the hair on your arms stand on end. The question isn't how he kept the secret for 17 years. It's far more unsettling. What truly makes a home? Is it the walls that hold memories, or the secrets buried within them? A faint scent of ozone and something metallic, like old pennies, lingered in the air, unnoticed for years. And beneath the floorboards, a low, persistent scratching had become just another part of the house's heartbeat. The family living within these walls, or the secrets entombed below them. How intimately do you truly know those who share your home? What deceptions are concealed just beneath your very feet? The screen plunged into absolute blackness. In that void, a faint metallic scent of ozone began to prickle at his senses. Then, a sound, not from the speakers, but seeming to emanate from the darkness itself. A low, wet scratching, like bone on stone. His breath hitched, the air suddenly thick and cold against his skin.